SinSaintPhobia Quest by Gigi / aka JNJDNNJ. Description: Finally, after not too many years later, a girl named Gigi goes into a Minecraft server with a map, which contains a world from her old childhood show that came from a YouTube channel called Favor My Saber, and the show is known as Rainbow Quest, a Steve series that is a reboot of another Steve-related show called The Steve Saga. But little did she know that she will accidentally create another version of the whole entire universe and get stuck in it. Now, it became a real world with real living beings in it. Unfortunately, her trip ends up turning into a hellish mess / nightmare. Will she end up escaping and finding out what happened to all of those who are in the world and save them before it's too late? Well, you will have to find out once you read this story completely. Have fun. Warning: this story contains horror elements, gore, saint-anic rituals that are demon / possessive related, demon-related horror, some expressions that are demon / possessive, violence, and many more things like horror elements or other horrific things that some viewers may find disturbing and will cause some people to have dramatic images or nightmares, and even more than that, more that can be bad for you, all mentally, if either of you guys find this disturbing and sinister too. If any of you guys find this disturbing and sinister in some way, then I strongly advise you to not read the story / book by exiting it immediately. Thank you. Enjoy. Chapter 1: Old Memories, New Beginnings. A Minecraft horror story. Finally, I was able to download an entire map of my favorite childhood YouTube show from an actual YouTuber called Favor My Saber, known as Rainbow Quest, so I can play in it and see all the buildings that were made in it and the places that were destroyed, built and rebuilt. But there is one website that I could get it from, and that is a website known as the Dark Web. Using my mouse to click on the button that says Create World, I joined in a world, starting in the spawn of the center of the Rainbow Hub, in a new Minecraft server. I looked around and realized that this was the second Rainbow Hub. Seemed off. On some parts of the floor seemed like it had blood staining on it. At first it freaked me out, but then afterwards I did not pay any much attention to that. I continued to explore the place, seeing more nature and also more bloodstains on some other parts of the floor and the walls too. But I still do not think too much about it until I started to hear cries, like man cries, coming from an unknown area. All of this adding up worries me and makes me wonder if I downloaded the right server. The sounds of the man crying continued to grow louder and louder. After a few hours later of hearing these noises coming and coming, the noises stopped, but only for a few hours, until I started to hear the noises again, again, and again. I was able to find the source of where the noises were coming from. A rainbow figure was behind me, and when I turned, he immediately started running towards an unknown direction, while at the same time I chased after him and followed him towards an abandoned house. An abandoned house? At first, I thought it was the house that belongs to Saber. Well, I took a closer look at it and immediately recognized it and knew this was definitely not Saber's house. This is Rainbow Steve's house, I said to myself as I investigated the main course of where the crying noises were coming from. And that was when I found that this figure looks exactly like Rainbow Steve. I discovered something off about him. Instead of his skin looking like the rainbowish color that I remember him by, he seems pale, gray, and ghost-like. I decided to walk to him to see if anything is wrong with him, and if I can help him in any way. When he turned, his face was not the same that I remember seeing from him. His eyes were black, red, dottish pupils on them. The depressing look on his lips, the tears with the color of black and the red color of blood, the decaying, rotting parts of his body, the blood coming from his mouth, that is saliva, and from his body. My body went from having a smiley, cheery face to being pale white. My heart started to pound very fast, like someone was hitting a bunch of drum sets very roughly. He screamed at my face. I screamed very loud and ran to a nearby abandoned building. I booked inside the structure as the Rainbow Steve-like figure ran past by, away from me. I was in shock with huge goosebumps all over my body, questioning if I was just hallucinating or if that was what I thought I just saw not too long ago. The sky is turning into pure void along with white, spotted stars. It's getting nighttime. Great. I should get some rest by using the bed that is left over while the abandoning of this house, I said to myself, climbing on the bed, tugging myself in with covers as my eyes get more and even more tired. Hopefully that will be the last of my crazy weird encounter. Boy, I was wrong. So wrong. Because throughout the night I kept hearing that same crying and screaming noise. Over and over and over and over again, with my goosebumps still remaining on my body, continuing to cover myself with the sheets of covers, eyes completely open, still out of complete fear. Please, make it stop. Make it stop. The next morning, I woke up with huge bags over my eyes because I couldn't sleep at all last night. Ugh! I don't know why, but I feel like I was trying to sleep in this squarish Minecraft world as if this is the real-life world or something. I knew that I would need some tools to get food supplies, resources, and water so I will survive and not die of hunger, thirst, or even get hurt, or even worse, get killed by mobs at night. So I ventured off looking for materials that I needed in order for me to make it in this world. I started off with chopping down wood from some trees and used the wood to craft a crafting table. I used the crafting table to craft some temporarily tools and weapons to use for hunting animals and to get some cobblestone. Once I grabbed the cobblestone, I used it to craft some cobblestone tools and weapons. I used these tools and weapons to hunt down some pigs, cows, sheep, and chicken. When I got back to base, I used some of my remaining cobblestone that I have left and to craft a furnace and use it to smelt some of the ores that I used. The cobblestone pickaxe to mine out of the cave, and the raw pork that I got from the pigs, that I used my stone sword to hunt them with. A few minutes or seconds later, the pork is finally done. I ate a lot of it, as if I haven't eaten in years or something. After my buffet, I heard a strange noise coming from the main center of the abandoned Rainbow Hub. What the flip was that? I asked myself as I walked from side to side inside of my temporary base. My mind was intriguing with questions. What do I do? Do I investigate the noise? Or should I hide and hear? After I took some time to myself, as the noise continued to be made, I decided to check it out in order to see for myself on what on earth is going on. I prepared myself, taking out my stone sword that I made while I was cautiously and carefully approaching the noise. In the middle of the whole structure, I continued to move more and more closer to the main cause of the noises, step by step, footprint by footprint, with my stone sword shaking in my hands with pure anxiety. I moved closer and then saw an orange Steve and a yellow Steve on the ground. At first I thought that the orange Steve was just trying to help the poor helpless yellow Steve. Oh man, I was wrong. Again. Dead wrong. The orange Steve, he was freaking eating the flesh off of the yellow Steve. My eyes lit up, whitened with confusion and fear. My body turned white, like some sort of ghost. I stopped moving like a statue. The orange Steve lifted his head up with a terrifying look on his face, and blood pouring from his mouth, black eyes with black ooze coming out of them, tentacles coming from every part of his body, rotting and decaying, and body generating or rebuilding itself. Yellow sharp teeth deep inside his mouth with blood and that blackish ooze coming out of his mouth. He lunged at me. I screamed again as he pounced right on top of me, trying to bite me. I tried and tried a few times, struggling with terror straight on my face. Thankfully, I was able to break free and make my escape, running, seeing the yellow Steve make some awfully strange body movements, shifting and turning and shifting and shifting, coming back to life and crawling as if he was possessed, growing the same features and looks of the orange Steve. Coming back to my comfort zone, the two unusual Steves passes by me, just like the Rainbow Steve figure did. I sat down on the ground of my face, with my face and body shivering, and with pure shock and horror at the same time. What the flip was that? And why was that Orange Steve eating the flesh off the Yellow Steve's neck? My mind was raging with chaotic and questioning. And that was the final straw. I needed to exit out of this Minecraft server right now. Checking my main menu in order to click on the save and quit button to get myself the freak out of here. There's no exit button? Where is it? When I realized why this was happening, my face turned white. The dark web. It all makes sense now. I made the world real, and now I am stuck here forever. Tears came streaming down my face. My family, my friends, my job. How is everybody gonna know that I am stuck in this new real-life world? More importantly, how am I gonna go back home and see them again? Calm down, Gigi. Just go to sleep and you will figure it all out in the morning, I said to myself, as I quietly tucked myself under the covers of the bed, inside of the abandoned building that I am staying in tonight. Tears streamed down on my face, sleeping, waiting for the next morning to come. Meanwhile, at an unknown person watching GG/me, !/unknown, mumbles to himself, a survivor? To be continued.